Any Aluko, the 90s Baby Show, comments on the uproar regarding Ian Wright. So, as you'll see, they have gone some way to address in this excerpt from a comment left on the HC Clips podcast YouTube website, their understanding of the timeline regarding what has happened in relation to Any Aluko and her comments regarding Ian Wright. Obviously, Any Aluko was on their show, the 90s Babies podcast, and it's from that clip on that show, which you'll see in one of my earlier videos and also on their podcast, that some of the discussions regarding this uproar have been happening on forums such as Talk Sport with Simon Jordan. Now, what they have done here is to go into some detail to address what has happened and their understanding of the context. And I thought I'd just show you this and see if you've got any comments on your view as to whether this affects what you think about this situation. I must say, there are some comments which are focused, and I'm not talking about the 90s Babies podcast, by the way, but it does appear that some people are using this as an opportunity to make comments regarding Any Aluko's physical appearance, hairstyle, etc. And I would say that some have gone as far as to be the big R word towards her. And to be quite frank with you, that isn't really acceptable at all. I guess people can have their views about her opinions and whether they think she's a good pundit or not, but addressing her appearance, addressing her race in particular, it does seem that is pushing things a bit too far and kind of using the opportunity to be derogatory towards her. Expressing views about her opinion is one thing, but expressing views regarding her appearance, that is totally unacceptable. But anyway, I'm going to just take this opportunity to read through these comments, and then once this video is done, and do drop your comments below as to whether you think this affects things at all, whether you think that some people have actually got the timeline wrong. So what the 90s Baby Show say is as follows. Might as well clear something up in the comments here. Shout out to HC in it, and it's a space where conversations can happen in the right way. The main issues why people don't understand, and Any's mainly been called entitled, is because they are getting the timelines mixed up. Joey Barton attacks Any on social media. Any's contract at ITV is coming to an end. Any knows this and has conversation with the execs, then asks Ian to help keep her in the game. This doesn't happen to Any disappears for a while going through the court back with Joey Barton. According to Any, we can't challenge her on her timeline. That's what they're saying, because it's her timeline. We're not there or involved to say something is incorrect. Pause there. The court battle is about the racism and sexism Any faced from Joey, as well as a bunch of other tweets he posted. So people saying Any is playing the race card, which is a whole separate conversation, and she always brings it back to gender. The whole thing starts there, not with Ian Wright. Whatever happened between Any and Ian behind the scene hasn't dropped yet. Back to the timeline. After the court battle, she wins against Joey, so she now has all the right to play her cards, in quotation marks they say. She has an interview on Women's Hour to talk about the case and winning it. The interview randomly throws in a question about Ian, which Any answers. If you don't like her answer, that's cool. Also, no reason to abuse Any. She then apologised to Ian for what she said, which if you watch it back, it actually wasn't that bad. Any is allowed to expect Ian's help and or to publicly say cool whatever, and then they don't have to be cool behind the scenes. Ian is also fine to not accept it or stay silent, no problem. Both things can be true. And then what happened? Any then came on our show, and then you've all seen what has happened since. If you want to call entitled, just make sure it's for the right reason, or you look dumb if you don't get the timeline right. If you think she's a bad pundit, that's your opinion. Why we didn't over challenge Any is because we don't think she's that bad. In the 11 years people have made a clip of the same 5 mistakes. Read in the comments, the only punditry mistake that kept coming up was 19 goals, 40 games. If that's all you have on her, it can only lead me to believe it could be rooted in something else. We are working on getting Ian on the show too, even though he didn't. And we'll pause. So we are working on getting Ian Wright on the show too, even though he don't want to talk about it. The pylon was disappointing, but he held her own as well at Talking Sport as questions were getting thrown at her. So yeah, I mean, they're essentially saying that people have got the timeline wrong, and in fact there's more of a background to this in relation to the case that she had with Joey Barton. And in fact she was responding to a question which mentioned Ian. She didn't bring his name up in the first place, but we do know that she subsequently apologised to Ian, which he did not accept publicly. But I guess what this comment from the 90s Babies podcast also raises, and I've observed as well, is that some people are using this as an opportunity to attack her parents rather than focus on their opinions regarding whether she's a good pundit or not. But this comment does go further to the extent that it considers that people are focusing on 5 mistakes. And I did see it mentioned, I think, on Simon Jordan's show as well, where the other chap mentioned that sometimes other male pundits can make mistakes in some of the stuff that they say as well. But it's not a great situation to be in for any of the parties involved. But that said, I think it is worth saying that people shouldn't be using this as an opportunity to be racist towards any in any way, or attack her parents if they don't like her opinions or they don't like they don't think she's a particularly good pundit. I guess they're entitled to those opinions, but using it as an opportunity to kind of attack her parents is not acceptable at all. But let me know your views in the comments below, whether the contents of that comment from the 90s Baby podcast affects your view or not. And for now, thank you for watching, listening, subscribing. And please do continue watching, listening, subscribing. Done talking.